Hello, welcome once again to Pale Blooms and Beyond. Thank you for joining us today. If you do like the programming you see here and the musicians and artists I visit with, please be sure and hit the like button and also subscribe to the channel. Andy Diagram is an English musician and trumpet player. He has played in a variety of bands with a wide range of styles from pop, rock, experimental, jazz, art rock, and dance music. Andy may best be known as a member of James from 1989 to 1992, rejoined the band in 2007 to the current day. His main project is Spaceheads, a duo formed in the early 1990s with drummer Richard Harrison. There have been 13 albums released to date. A new Spaceheads EP, Go Wild, was released in November of last year. As regards James, last year saw the release of the Live at the Acropolis album on DVD, a best of James on CD and vinyl, festival dates in the UK, Spain, and Portugal, and a 21-date tour of North and South America. A very busy year.
Yeah.
Over his career, Andy has also played with the Diagram Brothers, Dislocation Dance, Pale Fountains, and Pere Ubu's David Thomas, to name a few. This year promises to be a busy one for Andy, with more live shows with James and possibly more recordings with both James and Spaceheads. Well, welcome, Andy.
Hi, thanks for inviting me.
You're very welcome. Well, take us back. Where were you born?
I was born right in the center of London.
Okay. All right. Well, we can jump ahead a little bit. What took you to Manchester?
Um, I I had a girlfriend up there.
Okay.
People think that I went to university. They always think I went to university. I don't know why. I never did.
Okay. All right. It was a
It's
girlfriend.
just
Okay.
my the way I am. People think I'm highly intelligent and read a lot, but I don't.
Okay. Okay. We won't let on. Okay. All right. We'll let them keep believing that. Well,
Um,
do you recall your early childhood growing up? Was there music in the house?
oh yes, definitely. Yeah, it was. My mum and dad were keen amateur folk musicians, and yeah, so they used to play in folk clubs in the 60s and play on peace demonstrations, and yeah, so I grew up with that, and they encouraged us to learn musical instruments. They were very much yeah, music as a communal sort of getting together, and as a sort of a way of expressing sort of yeah, expressing a point of view, a politics, I suppose. Yeah. So that was ingrained in me at a very early age. It was music was a social thing and a shared experience, and usually with a message.
Yes. Yeah, that folk scene in the UK, especially like you said in London, and all
Yeah.
the clubs that were hosting that, and the bars and things like that. I just recently spoke with Gordon Giltrap. You familiar with
Oh,
that
yeah.
name?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and he talked about playing that folk scene,
Yeah.
early on as well, and busking and
Right.
that a lot of bands. Well, uh, what was the trumpet the first instrument you learned to play?
Yeah. Well, as I said, my parents encouraged us kids. I got a younger brother and sister to choose a musical instrument and take lessons, and I chose trumpet, and I couldn't get any lessons at school.
Okay.
They said I was too young.
Is that right?
I was 9 years old, and they said, "Oh no, you can't play trumpet till you're 11." And
Is
so,
that right? That's wild because you hear about piano lessons, the earlier the better.
oh yeah, no piano. It's just for some reason I didn't have the. I was told I didn't have the lungs for a trumpet,
Okay.
and it's too big of an instrument to hold up,
Yeah.
which was true as well because my mum and dad uh, they saw I liked the trumpet and actually paid for lessons until the school paid for them. So the first 2 years they indulged me and got me trumpet lessons. And true enough, it was too heavy, so it used to rest on my knee.
Oh, right. Well, you
Yeah.
grew into it as you got older. You
Well, yeah, so they had to sort of they had to make me stand up straight with it. Yeah.
Well, how
But
interesting. Well, yeah.
when I joined the school at 11 years old, I was already quite a good trumpet player in my secondary school, and they were quite impressed and asked me to play at the school memorial service for it was the war memorial in September as a new student and play the last post. And just before I was about to do it, well, the day before, Jimi Hendrix died.
Oh,
And there's sixth formers at the school, which is the sort of they're about 5 or 6 years older than me. I was only 11. They said they said we reject the militarism of the last post, and we want to have a memorial for Jimi Hendrix. So I was pushed off the bill, and Jimi Hendrix went on the bill. I think that affected me in a big way, really. I thought Jimi Hendrix was amazing.
yeah,
But
replaced by
yeah, that was my first introduction to Jimi Hendrix as well. Plus, I had an older cousin who liked Jimi Hendrix, and yeah,
yeah,
and yeah, it had an amazing effect on me.
yeah. Well, that's not a bad artist to be replaced by.
No.
Right there, Jimmy. Well, can you remember one of the first singles or albums that you got?
Um, yeah, just before then, I I was at a kids sort of show, and we were all given a a single, or there was a lucky dip, and we pulled out a single, and people got really sort of embarrassing Christmas songs. I, for some strange reason, got the Kinks,
Oh,
and it was Lola, and again, it was just like, wow.
yeah, the look
And
of the song. Yeah,
and
yeah.
that's another song that stayed with me over the years. It's now a karaoke favorite if I ever get called up for karaoke.
Right,
I played
right.
it so much when I was little that I just know it. I know it backwards, but I know it with all the wrong words because you had no way of checking the words back then. So when the words come up on the screen for the
Yeah.
karaoke, I have to not look because I've got my own version
You've
of it.
got your own. Isn't that's fascinating to me because I did that with a lot of music. I imagine hearing something else than what
Yeah,
the lyrics were exactly.
yeah,
Got stories about that misheard lyrics.
yeah.
Wow. Well, how about the first live show or live concert that you attended?
Well, we grew up in central London, and my parents were quite open-minded, and I sort of grew my hair long as a bit of a hippie, and they used to take us on peace demonstrations, and one of the first one of the first peace demonstrations at an American war base uh, had a peace festival, and Hawkwind were playing. That was in 1970, but I don't remember much about them because I was so fascinated by all the Hells Angels that were there. They all sort of came in on their bikes because they hadn't been on a part of the peace process. They came in just
Yeah,
for the Hawkwind thing.
yeah,
So that was my first sort of big rock and roll experience, but I can't say it was my first gig. The first gig that I actually went out to see was T-Rex at Wembley in 1972 when I was about 13.
Oh, is that right? Were you
Yeah.
into that early glam? Glam?
I liked Mark Bolan. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Wow. Yeah. Oh, Hawkwind. That must have been an eye and ear opener for
Oh, yeah.
early
Yeah.
on.
As I say, I wish I could remember more
Yeah.
about it. It
Yeah.
was just I remember the Hells Angels more than the
Then
band.
how daunting they were. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, okay. Well, how about some other early musical influences, bands for you?
Um, well, being a trumpet player, I sort of got drawn to jazz.
Yeah. Yeah.
So after I'd got into T-Rex and briefly a sort of prog rock phase, I discovered Miles Davis, and yeah, and that just changed my world.
Yes.
Because at school, everyone was trying to play the highest note they could on the trumpet and play it sort of da 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 da. And Miles just came in and just undercut all of that. And it was like, wow, you can make the trumpet a really expressive instrument.
Yes. Yes.
So Yeah,
different layers and moods exactly with that,
yeah,
and just
yeah,
like in your face.
yeah,
Right, right.
yeah.
Well, no, go ahead. Do you have something else?
No, no, that
Okay,
was that was it. Yeah.
okay, okay. Well, what was your very first band that you were part of before like Dislocation Dance?
Um, well, the first band was the Diagram Brothers. So
Oh, that came first. Okay, that came first.
yeah, I was actually in sort of bands in London. Um, because I was into jazz and I was hanging out with London jazzers at the age of sort of 15, 16, and punk rock happened. And I was blown away by it. It had a lot of the sort of things that I grew up with, the protest music, the music as sort of, you know, as emotion, as pure emotion and message. And uh, so threw me right back into liking rock music and liking punk. And I sort of separated off a bit from my jazz mates, and I sort of stopped playing trumpet for a while. If I'd stayed with my jazz mates, some of them went on to have very good careers.
In hindsight, right?
Yeah, and
Yeah.
there's a very famous piano player in England you might not have heard of him called Django Bates, and he was my friend at school, and he's just like a recognized jazz professor now in this country. And
Does he spell his first name like Reinhardt? Django?
yeah, I
Okay.
mean, it was named after him because his
Okay.
dad was a big jazz fan, and he just grew up. It was just in his soul. And yeah, amazing musician. But I'd moved away from that. I'd gone into punk, and yeah, and
Yeah.
sort of given up the trumpet. And it was as I came up to Manchester, I just found all these bands, which is what made me stay. Because in London, it wasn't really happening. There was just so much going on, but it was all in separate camps. There was the jazz camp or the punk camp, or and in Manchester, within like 2 or 3 months of joining, I was in two different bands and playing John Peel sessions. So obviously, I stayed.
You got your foot in the door. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, that whole DIY ethic, lured a lot of musicians, you know,
yeah,
yeah, to the punk scene. Exactly. Yeah.
yeah.
Well,
And in the Diagram Brothers, I was playing bass guitar, and
okay, okay.
it was people I met in the Manchester Musicians Collective that invited me to join Dislocation Dance because one of the organisers of the Manchester Musicians Collective was Dislocation Dance, and they encouraged me to play the trumpet. They when they found out I played the trumpet, it's, why don't you bring your trumpet along?
Yeah.
So it was like, yeah, I brought my trumpet along to Dislocation Dance, and that was the start of my trumpeting, really.
Oh, dislocation. Okay. Okay.
Yeah. So
Okay.
even
So
though Diagram Brothers came slightly first, Diagram Brothers was mainly a bass player.
okay, okay, all right, all right. Well, I had those switched because they were around the same time,
They were
late
both very
50s,
close, very, very close. Yeah.
very close. Well then, let's talk about Diagram Brothers. What were the other guys' influences, musical influences?
Um, they were all scientists. They were all at the University of Manchester Institute of Science and Technology, and they were all really, really clever.
Okay, were there a couple of mad scientists there?
They were all mad scientists.
They were all
Yeah,
okay.
yeah,
Okay.
and very eclectic tastes. But um, Diagram Brothers was very formulaic. It was like we used to sit around in a living room with acoustic guitars or non-plugged in guitars, and the drummer was on a box, and we used to work out songs really intricately, but none of the songs should have proper chords, and they should all be based on discords.
Yes,
So
yes,
yeah, so all
yes.
the notes have got to be slightly odd and off,
Right.
and and simple beats and very simple, straightforward lyrics. But
Yes.
about things like bricks or animals. So
Right, bricks was something, yeah. One of the singles, yeah. Yeah, I was going to ask you the song Discordo
yeah,
would kind of describe the sound, you know.
yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. Yeah.
Yes, yes. Okay. Well, did you play live in support of other bands?
Yeah, we played a Futurama festival in Leeds, which had quite a lot of famous bands on, but we were mainly playing sort of Manchester Musicians Collective gigs, which was like had a lot of small bands, although bands like The Fall were part of it. Um, yeah, but we never actually played with The Fall.
Okay, okay. Yeah, when I think of Manchester, they give Buzzcocks and Magazine a couple.
Yeah, we had a Buzzcocks connection because Buzzcocks uh, released records on their own label called New Hormones. And it was
Yes,
actually New Hormones that picked up on Dislocation Dance and the Diagram Brothers. The guy that ran that, Richard Boone, was
yes,
a fan and yeah, and signed us up.
yes. Well, yeah, you mentioned the band recorded some Peel sessions.
Yeah.
How did those turn out? Were you pleased with the with how they turned out?
Yeah, I mean, in some ways, I think the Peel sessions were better than the records.
Right. Was that with what was the guy's name that was in Mott the Hoople? Was he the engineer on those? What
Oh God, yeah.
Buffin. Well, let's switch over to Dislocation Dance.
Yeah.
How did you get the gig with them?
Well, as I said, it was the guy who ran the Manchester Musicians Collective heard that I played the trumpet and wanted me to bring my trumpet along.
Okay.
So yeah, they drove me out to a farm where they outside Manchester where they rehearsed, and I was doing gigs and Peel sessions within weeks with them as well. So
Oh.
it was all like, wow, I'm in two bands.
Did you ever get to meet John Peel? Did you get to?
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah,
you
yeah.
did. Okay.
He was a big Diagram Brothers fan, and
Okay.
in fact, he was. We anointed him as a Diagram Brother. His full name is John Peel Diagram. So
Oh, you anointed him. I'm sure he was proud of that. Yeah,
yeah,
yeah, that's yeah. I've heard talk to so many musicians that did Peel sessions, but they said no, we never actually got to meet him, you know.
right.
But a few did. So that's
Yeah,
nice.
yeah.
You're fortunate there.
I
You
was very fortunate. Yeah,
well, well. Speaking of a dislocation dance, that's a nice reimagining of "We Can Work It Out." I think.
right.
Yeah, yeah.
Like that one. Yeah,
And in fact, if you didn't know the original and you heard it and the rhythm and the sound that's coming out,
yeah,
you wouldn't imagine it was the same song, until
right.
you hear the lyrics,
Yeah,
So I like the way that turned out.
yeah,
And then Rosemary, that's a nice pop track. I like that one.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah, yeah. Wow. A little bit later on, yeah, I think what 83's Show Me
yeah.
reminds me a little bit of what like Haircut 100 was doing around the same time.
Right. Yeah,
Hear a little bit of that. Yeah.
yeah.
Maybe not, yeah, not quite as pop, but in that
No.
in that vein. That
Well, we
vein.
became more and more poppy as the years went on. I think sort of everyone seemed to.
Yeah.
It's like a lot of the contemporaries uh, of a few years earlier were starting to get signed and sell out, as we called it,
Yeah, yes.
or some people called it. Yeah,
The universal term, yes.
yeah.
Well, okay. Well, the band reformed in what 2000 for a tour of Japan.
Oh yeah. Many years later, we reformed and did Japan because that period of like 80s British pop, indie pop was
Yeah.
very popular in Japan. And there's a label called Vinyl Japan that brought out reissued a lot of it, and
Yeah.
they had fans over there. Yeah, that,
Yes.
would turn up with all the records and get you to sign them, and it's like it was amazing
One of my favorite bands, Lotus Eaters, had a release on there on Vinyl Japan.
on Vinyl Japan.
Yes, and I've got a few more of those, I think, over
Yeah,
here. Yeah, yeah. Nice label, nice label.
yeah,
And then there was an album in 2005 entitled Cromer. it came out.
Right, yeah, that's not really got much to do with me. That's
Okay, you weren't on like a,
one of the singers and main songwriter. I mean, we sort of used to write our songs sort of quite collectively, but Ian would sort of take the initiative in a lot of ways, and so he carried on the band. He wanted me and Richard the drummer. Richard the drummer actually played in space plays in
yeah,
Spacehead.
yes.
So he's the Spaceheads drummer. So in that sense, I'm still in Dislocation Dance with him, but we're still the
Right,
Spaceheads.
right, right. Well, you guys must, forged a good chemistry and friendship, still
Oh
play
yeah, 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 yeah.
over all this time, right? Well, most of the catalog, this location dance has been released on LTM Records.
That's right.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's another nice label.
it
I've
is. Yeah,
I've picked up a lot of material from that label as well. Yeah, yeah,
yeah. They do the Diagram Brothers as well.
yeah. Yes, they
Yeah.
do. Yes, they do. Yes, they do. Okay. Well, how about any of the guys from the Diagram Brothers? You still in contact with them? You have you
Yeah,
worked?
yeah, and sort of a Christmas card contact.
Okay, but you haven't worked with them musically since.
No, I mean they're all scientists. They're all
Yeah.
yeah.
Okay.
They've got proper jobs.
Okay. All right. All right. All right. Well, I can see the segue from Dislocation Dance, the later material into the Pale Fountains. I can kind of see that. How you
Yeah.
moved into that. Uh, how did you come to join the Pale Fountains?
Well, it's all connected to Dislocation Dance because the Power Fountains supported Dislocation Dance on a gig in London, and uh, I got talking to Mick and uh, and Biffa, the bass player, and yeah, and we sort of shared a lot of um, love of the same sort of music, and they invited me to go on stage and play the encore of Walk On By.
Oh, all right. All right. Yeah. Oh, yeah. He
The Burt Bacharach, yeah.
Yeah, Mick
So
was heavily influenced by Bert. Yes.
yeah, so were Dislocation Dance, and so we had
Yeah.
a lot of yeah,
Uh,
and but it was when I said, um, "You remind me of a band called Love." That
oh,
was when Mick said, "You're in the band," because he
that,
found that at the time that when he mentioned this band called Love, he thought it was something only him and a few mates in Liverpool had heard of. So for me to come along and say,
right. Uh,
"You should check
Ar-
this band out called Love,"
yeah,
Arthur Lee.
Arthur Lee.
He said, "What? You know Arthur Lee? You know of Arthur Lee? You know of Love?"
Yeah,
And yeah, so he said, "Oh, we've got to play with you again." Invited me to record with them, and yeah, eventually joined the band.
but yeah. Well, I'm mentioning songs that are special to me, from the Pale Fountains, but it really defined a period of my life in my 20s.
Okay.
So I don't think there's too many years difference. We're pretty close to the same age.
Mm.
So I mentioned these songs. Any recollections surrounding them, recordings of them, or stories, backstories? That would be great if you can, if you can. All right. Uh, you play on their first single, "Thank You," which is still one of my favorites.
Yeah, I mean, the first single I played on was actually "Just a Girl."
Okay. Oh, that came first. Okay.
That
You
that
know,
came that was released on it was it Crepuscule or some little indie label with Something on My Mind on the other side. That was the
right.
first
That
single.
and
Uh,
then that would appear on the album on
well, a re-recording of
a
it. Yeah,
re-recording of it. Yes.
yeah.
Okay. Well, then, so you can't always believe, the chronology that you see online because it showed them back flip-flopped. It showed "Thank
Okay,
You" as the first single, but
right.
"Just a Girl" is the second.
Well,
The
it was the versions for Virgin Records were because Virgin Records signed us.
Okay.
Um, but that was a massive saga because um, yeah, we were basically chased by record companies all over London,
Okay.
and you
Well,
know,
tell that story. Yeah, tell that story.
Yeah, we they they people really loved the band. They thought that we would be the new, I don't know, sort of haircut 100, I suppose. They were looking for another haircut 100 and thought the Pale Fountains might be it because we had the look,
Yeah. Yeah.
but we didn't have that sound. So I don't know what they were thinking about. We were more sort of everything but the girl, but that we were before them.
Yes. Yes. Yes.
So, but anyway, the record companies were really interested in us and chasing us all over the place. Actually, before I mention that, we actually recorded Thank You. So it was the recording of Thank You which got them so excited.
Oh,
And that was recorded by Rough Trade,
right. Okay.
the one of the biggest indie labels in London. And Jeff Travis, who runs Rough Trade, was a big Pale Fountains fan, and he paid for the orchestra and paid for that whole session.
Did he?
Yeah, and when other people heard it, they just went, we got to sign this band, and different um, record companies would sort of take us out and sort of take us around posh restaurants in London and butter us up and
Butter. Did they add some jelly too
yeah.
with the butter? Okay. Jam. Wow. Yeah. Okay. Well, there were other labels that were interested. Wow.
Oh,
Okay.
totally, yeah. And then we eventually signed with Virgin because we liked their A&R guy. He was a younger guy, more sort of our age or just a bit older. And we seemed to get on with him quite a lot. And Richard Branson invited us onto his barge, and his wife cooked us food and stuff. So yeah.
Oh, did you fly on his jet?
Um, I don't think that was going in back in the
It's
early 80s. Yeah,
later,
yeah,
later development.
that was
Okay.
later, yeah.
Okay.
Um,
Well,
so
good.
yes, so then they released Thank You, and it didn't chart, or it got into the really lower regions of the charts. And um, at the time, record companies were buying top singles, top 10 singles, top five. They could buy back their own records and get them in the charts. And they'd invested a lot of money in Pale Fountains, and we thought they'd probably do that. But there was a big investigation that week or the week before it came out that stopped all that, or it stopped all that at that time,
Yeah.
or the record companies cheating, and they couldn't get us in the charts, even though they promised us you'll be in top five with
Yeah.
this, and it was like, oh, okay. Well, we didn't really care.
Yeah. Right. Right. Oh, that's unfortunate at the
But
time.
that the record company cared because they put a lot of money into it. So
Yes. Yeah.
they wanted another thank you type record, and for us that was just a one-off, and we had our own agenda. So we went through playing with lots of different producers that didn't work, and lots of producers that were very patronizing to us because we were sort of quite young,
Yeah.
and they sort of wanted to replace us all with session musicians. And at the end of the day, um, we forced them to give us a cheaper studio and said we'd do it ourselves with an unknown producer, and we came up with Pacific Street.
Yeah. Yeah. Well,
Um,
before that, I want to mention a couple of more singles or the B-sides too. First of
yeah,
all, you said Everything But the Girl. That's another one of my favorites. I
okay.
love that. I was attracted to that jazzy, cool jazzy
Yeah,
sound. Yeah.
yeah,
Mellow jazz like that. And
yeah,
Pale Fountains, I heard that with you guys as well.
yeah, yeah,
So
yeah,
that was well, the B-side to Thank You, maybe right up there with one of my favorites too, Meadow of Love.
yeah,
Yeah, that's I mean that single, both sides are is a cracking single, both of
yeah,
them, that one. Yeah. Meadow of Love. It's another one of those. And then you mentioned There's Always Something on My Mind, uh, and Just a Girl. Yeah, that's
yeah,
the one. Wow. Really, you guys got off to a really, good start with both of those. And
yeah.
Needless to say, your trumpet was an integral part in sound for the
Yeah,
band.
yeah.
Yeah. So that's what Mick, he was kind of looking for that to bring,
He was very much looking for that. Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, it's very much part of his the way he thinks about songs is like he'll he'll just imagine them all in his head as he's playing the guitar, and he'll have it all orchestrated in his head, and he'll know what the trumpet parts are, So I did come up with a few lines of my own, but Mick quite often had them, and his
Oh.
lines were quite often better than mine. So
He already knew what kind of feel he was
he,
getting.
he knew what he wanted. Yeah, it
Well,
was.
Unless was like a third single. That was the first track I ever heard from the band. Unless.
Ah, right, yeah.
Yes.
That was my trumpet line.
Yes, exactly. Yes, I can. Yeah, definitely.
That
That
wasn't Mick.
that was your own. Yeah, it was. There's a during the '80s, early '80s, '83 actually.
Yeah.
There's a program we had over here on Sunday night, a couple of hours where the guy would play a lot of import music, and
Oh, okay.
that's where I first heard that.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay. Yeah,
so I had to go search you guys out. Uh, Pacific Street is a great album. I mean,
yeah.
there's not a naff track on it.
No.
It's great. Reach, that's a nice start. Uh,
Yeah.
and I like the bongos on that one.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
No, as I said, we forced that on the record company. We did it us more or less produced it ourselves with the help of a sort of young producer engineer. Can't remember his name now, but yeah, and I don't think the record company liked it that much. And they didn't promote it, but we still stand by it till today, and it's just like we're much prouder of that than things like Thank You and Meadow of Love, which were taken over by orchestrators. They're very orchestrated, big strings, even though they're fantastic songs, they're mixed songs.
yes,
They're,
yes,
they're sort of, they weren't the band.
right.
And Pacific Street represents the band. It was who we are. Yeah. And
It,
and I think it stands the test of time,
oh, that's what
Uh,
I was going to
yeah.
say. It has lasted. It's it is relevant today, like you said, as it was
Yeah.
back then. Have you found some younger fans discovering the band? Or
Um, well, I don't know because Pale Fountains don't play.
yeah, yeah. But
So,
but you haven't heard personally through emails or things like that.
no. Again, we're very big in Japan.
Yeah, yeah,
Um, I keep in touch with uh, John and Mick, and I saw them recently on their Shack tour.
yeah.
And Shack have only just got back
Right.
together again, and all their audience are quite old.
Yes,
I'm not
yes.
sure if younger people are discovering the Pale
Yeah.
Fountains and Shack. I
Yeah,
don't know.
you haven't heard. Yeah, I do like. I've got a couple albums by Shaq. I
Mm.
like what he did with that as well, with that band. But back to the album. Of course, we mentioned "Something on My Mind," another
Yeah,
great track, and then "Unless." Uh,
yeah,
Still love it after all these years. That song, uh,
yeah.
and I like the instrumental "Faithful Pillow" Part One. First,
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah.
yeah. Was there any thought at the time of maybe developing that into a full blown song?
Well, there's Faithful Pillow Part Two as well.
Right, right. But I mean,
So
putting them together as like
right,
one track.
I, I think when we reformed for the 25th anniversary, we did actually play it
Okay,
live, and I don't think we played it live at the time,
okay.
but we perceived that as very much a sort of a soundtracky type film soundtrack
Yeah, yeah.
sort of feeling about it. Yeah, slightly jazzy, but yeah,
Right, right. And then You'll Start a War.
yeah,
Maybe the most rockin' track on the album.
yeah,
Uh, and I like your double track trumpet on that one.
yeah,
Yeah. That's effective. Yeah.
yeah,
As well. Well, and then one more, no, a couple more actually. I mean, every song really is, Beyond Friday's Field. That's
mm,
a nice, I like that, your nice jazzy trumpet intro.
yeah,
Uh,
yeah, yeah,
and the whole song sounds like it was recorded like decades before, maybe the late 50s, early
yeah,
60s.
Yeah.
The whole sound.
Been a while since I've heard it, but there was yeah,
It's
a friend of ours played the steel drums, which
okay.
is
It's got all that nice south of the border feel too
yeah,
on that
yeah,
side. Yeah.
and that they were big influences on us. That sort of yeah, that film music
Right, right.
and
Yeah,
soundtrack.
yeah. Did is Mick into Herb Albert, Tijuana Brass?
Not as much as me, but I got
Okay,
it.
yeah. Okay. All right, all right. That's one of my, talking about my early influences. My dad had three or four of his albums.
Oh
And
yeah,
so growing up on the hi-fi, he would play
yeah.
Herb Albert. Yeah. And do you know Baja Marimba Band? Have you ever heard of them?
I haven't no.
Same time period. In fact, they recorded on A&M as well.
Okay.
So very similar south of the border sound, but look them up. There's materials hard to find.
Oh,
They have a couple of CDs that are like best of, but their original material is only on vinyl.
Baja Marimba.
Yeah, like Baja, California, or BAJA, Baja Marimba Band. Yeah, but they've got some nice material. In the
Okay.
same vein as Herb Albert's early stuff. So yeah,
Right.
yeah,
Okay.
check that. And then one more Abergaele next time. That's
Oh yeah.
a nice sunny track with that
Yeah.
jazz backbeat. I like that. Yeah, as well. Yeah, and well, moving on to and I don't know if you heard this from other fans, but I didn't like the follow-up album uh, from Across the Kitchen Table as much as Pacific Street. Yeah,
Right.
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, there's a couple of good tracks on there, but all in all, I preferred Pacific Street.
Yeah. I mean, Pacific Street is the one because it's
Yeah,
so good. But
yeah,
across the kitchen table, it was weird. I'd sort of Mick was becoming more sort of influenced by rock, and so
yeah,
it was less of the sort of bossa nova and the film soundtracks,
yes, yeah,
which is what I'm into.
right,
And he want he he wanted my musicianship in the studio because I was a classically trained trumpet player, so I'd done that at school, and I played piano and guitar, and so I could double up on instruments, uh, and so I helped them a lot on that, but that wasn't what I wanted to do. I wanted to play trumpet. So, and as it became more and more rocky,
yeah,
and Mick
yeah,
got his brother John in,
yeah.
and it was like I said, I don't think this is for me anymore, Mick.
Yeah, there wasn't really a lot of room for you in more of a rock band, like you said, and
Yeah.
uh,
Although
I could,
I heard that the title track from Across the Kitchen Table, and uh, I really liked it. I'd forgotten how
yeah,
I really like the way the trumpet fits in.
yeah, yeah,
Like it's got its own line that runs sort of behind, and yeah, almost yeah.
yeah,
I thought, wow,
yeah.
that's sort of that's different. I could have if I'd been a bit more savvy, I could have developed that style a bit more. I don't know, but that title track and the trumpet on it, I'm really pleased with. Well,
Yes.
although at the time I was dismissing it all, but listening back, I'm going, oh yeah,
Yeah, it's funny how with time sometimes you
yeah,
listen, your tastes have changed or you've matured or whatever, and you
yeah,
hear it differently. Yeah,
yeah.
yeah, things like that. Well, later you would play with Mick in the Red Elastic Band.
That's right. Yeah,
How did that go?
and
How long? How
that
long was
that
that?
was great. Well, they called me back for the 25th anniversary of the Pale Fountains, so we did a couple of gigs and got together for that, and and Mick was sort of disbanding Shack at the time, and it was about 2010, something like that, and getting Red Elastic Band together. So I sort of helped him out on that and the early days of that. Um, but I just became too busy with James to sort
Yeah,
of to,
to do that.
to
Yeah.
help him. And yeah, there's another great trumpet player in Liverpool, Marty. Martin Smith is brilliant. So yeah, Marty took over, although there was quite a few times we'd play together.
Oh, you did? Okay.
The two trumpets, yeah, which was a great sound. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I would like to hear those. Do
Yeah,
you have
there's a few,
recordings? Yeah, yeah.
yeah, I mean, some of the uh, they're not the actual recordings. It's more on YouTube, I think, live
Oh, the
shows
live
from
shows.
about
Okay.
2015, 2016. You'll see me and Martin there, yeah.
Okay. Okay. Dueling trumpets. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Well, how did you come into the orbit of Tim Booth?
Um, well, I was in Manchester, living in Manchester and playing in bands. And I I was living in a house full of musicians, people like Eric Random and people that were on Factory Records, members of a certain ratio, and a guy called Cliff, who's a great saxophone player, and he actually had a t-shirt company, and they were printing all the James t-shirts in the late 80s, which were everywhere. And they it was like there wasn't much James music out at that time, but there were t-shirts everywhere. The big JAMES.
Right, right on the back.
It made his firm as well take off. And Tim Booth was actually talking to him and found out that he played the saxophone and said, "Come and have a play with us. We're looking to expand." They just lost their drummer and were getting new musicians in. And uh, Cliff said, "No, no, it's not my sort of thing, Tim. But I know someone, trumpet player. You should try him out." So they got me in, and it wasn't an audition; it was an actual recording session. So my first encounter with James was to turn up in the studio and jam live with them. They were all in different rooms. The drummer in one room, all across the studio, talking on headphones, and me and this saxophone player that was in a band called Jazz Defectors in Manchester. We were playing as the brass section, record in one of the rooms, and then they started up this beat, and the beat was a bit of a drum machine beat with drums along, and it was the track Gold Mother, and it
Oh, okay.
ended up on the album Gold Mother. That jam.
That jam. That jam.
I
Wow.
think
So
it was
maybe.
probably edited a bit, but there was like my first notes with James
Yeah.
are, are on that album,
Yeah. Yeah. Well,
and
that.
they liked what I did. They weren't so keen on the saxophone. They liked the fact that I was playing trumpet and not sounding very trumpety.
Yeah.
It played with delays and stuff.
Yeah.
So they got me playing on a few other tracks,
Yeah.
and then insisted that I play live with them. And I wasn't. I was very reluctant. I'd sort of the Pale Fountains record company experience had put me off being in
Yeah.
a pop band,
Yeah.
and at the time I was like getting into experimental jazz, and so I was, "No, I don't really want to. I'll just try a few." And they were crazy gigs with fans invading the stage, and they were really wild, and so I got swept up in it. And I think the fact that I was quite reluctant also impressed the Tim Booth and the other members of James, because the last thing they wanted was someone that was desperate to join the band, and they liked the fact that I had a sort of slightly cynical edge and a detachment from the sort of the the pop stardom of it
Right.
all. Yeah,
Right. Right. That appealed to them. Yes.
yeah,
So, wow. Well, that was nice that you got to just jump right on in without an audition or
yeah,
anything.
yeah, yeah,
So that's kudos to you and your reputation. You know.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Well, so he liked that. Well, I didn't realize that they started. He started like '82. James. I didn't realize
What
it was that.
James thought,
Yeah,
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 yeah, yeah.
that early. Wow. Okay. Well, you'll have to excuse me for my ignorance on James, as
Okay,
I only have the one album, Seven. Uh,
right,
and
okay,
it's a nice album. It's a
yeah,
nice album. Of course, there's Born of Frustration.
yeah,
I think that's the first track I ever heard. But I also like Ring the Bells off of that
yeah,
album.
yeah,
And Mother is another one. But my
yeah.
favorite is the title track, Seven. That's my favorite. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Yes, yes, yes. Does you still play those live? Any of those tracks?
Yeah, we don't do Mother, but we do Bells, Seven, and Born of Frustration
Okay.
occasionally. There's so many songs that James have got out now that, and
Yeah,
we try and vary the set as much as possible.
right,
Um,
right.
yeah, and
Yeah, it's
try
it,
never
it's
to. Yeah,
you couldn't include them all. It would be like
no,
epic. It would be playing for
yeah,
days, days.
yeah,
Yeah, but yeah, there is an art to that. I'm talking to different musicians about how to insert newer tracks to the alongside the favorites and how to kind of keep the audience interested.
yeah. I think the James are very lucky, and they've got a very dedicated fan base
Yeah,
that
yeah,
just love what we do, and we make a point of saying you're not going to get all the hits,
yeah,
and one or two people will moan, oh, they didn't play this or they didn't play that, and we'll say, well, no, it's not. What you get is what we enjoy playing at that time and what
yeah,
we think will fit, and yeah, and we need to vary it and change it, and what I like about playing with James is it's quite loose. I mean, there is a tightness in the band, but the structures can sort of break down and change and evolve, and songs won't. It's not like playing the track off the album.
right,
It'll become slightly different. Yeah,
right. Well, I always say that. What's the point of playing it verbatim? Exactly like the
yeah,
album. I mean, you go to see a
exactly.
band live, you want to hear a little different spin on it.
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
Tracks. And some jams and things like that. As
Yeah.
well. Well, I also have. This was a few years later. The offshoot, Booth and the Bad Angel.
All right.
You familiar with that? Yeah, from
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
96.
yeah,
I like the direction he went on that album.
yeah,
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 so
yeah.
just three tracks that I want to mention. I Believe. I
Oh
think
yeah,
that might have been the single off of that.
yeah.
Dance of the Bad Angels,
Uh,
and then Hands in the Rain. I love that song. That's a
yeah,
beautiful, beautiful track.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
So, well, you didn't have any affiliation with that, but I just
I
thought,
I wasn't involved with that at all. No,
right.
although yeah, I met some of the musicians and involved in it that were involved in the reformation of James and getting the band back together again in 2007. Yes.
Right. Were you surprised to hear from him in 2007? Were you?
Yeah. Um, Though we'd kept in touch, it was like they always said I was the first person to leave James on good terms.
Okay. All
It's
right.
like they lost their drummer due to a big row on stage, on people storming off and rows. And I just said, I don't see a future in this, Tim. It's like you don't really need a trumpet player.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's like I'm going to do this album seven, and then I'll help you promote it, but I won't be involved in the next album. So I gave them a year's notice, and Tim was going, "Are you sure?" Well, no, we're doing the next album with Eno. Don't you want to work with Eno?
Yeah.
And I said, "Of course, I want to work with Eno.
What kind of question is that? but
I
but
can't,
that
I can't promote the album. Yeah, it'd just be unfair for me to do it and then not tour it. And I've got my own things I want to do."
yeah,
And I didn't. I seriously felt that as well that there wasn't a future in for me and James as a trumpet player because they didn't need a trumpet, and also for that sort of music, it was like dance music was really taking off,
right,
and so
right.
it seemed like James were a bit of a band out of time. But then, of course, indie rock music and uh, it came back in a really big way, and yeah, I just didn't imagine that at this age, these years later, that I'd still be doing James. It's like,
Yeah. Well, did he kind of reinvent James at that point, 2007, the sound and everything, or, or
not really, because
no?
James are always reinventing themselves anyway.
Okay, okay,
The whole thing is a sort of is in perpetual motion.
yeah,
It
yeah,
it really is. It's like, yeah, which is what I really enjoy about the band. It's like new songs are which, they try and make them different to the ones they've done before, and looking for sort of new directions all the time. And yeah,
yeah. Yeah, I think that's a key to longevity of a band,
Yeah,
continually
yeah,
reinventing. I think that's what Bowie. That's what helps
yeah,
have such a long career, that continually reinventing himself.
exactly.
I guess another one. Wow. Okay. Well, so you and longtime bandmate with Dislocation Dance, Richard
Yeah,
Harrison, formed Spaceheads. And
yeah.
what was that? 93.
Yeah, that was sort of when I left James because I wanted to do more of that sort of thing. I discovered I was into dance music. I discovered using loopers and effects with my trumpet, and me and Richard were mates, and we jammed together anyway, and had already sort of made a few releases in the late 80s, and yeah, I wanted to take that further, which is why I left James because I thought there's more future in this.
Yeah. Yeah. We'll talk about some of the advances in technology that you tapped into with Spaceheads to help create that sound, with your trumpet.
Yeah, well, um, the looper is the big one, and quite often now people understand what a looper is. It's like there's been quite a few major artists using loopers, but back in the early 90s, sound engineers at gigs used to stare at me weird. You want what? You want that as loud as what you're playing? And then uh, sound engineers would go, "Can I take a clean feed off your trumpet?" And go, "No,
That's not what you want.
it's not. It's like that just wouldn't make sense. It's all the going through the effects, creating the harmonies, creating the bass lines, because I used a harmony pedal, and that's and I could create bass lines by playing really low on it and putting that into a looper and sort of building up rhythms and yeah, it was great, and it was there was no one else doing that at the time, so it was quite out on its own. I mean, there
Yeah.
were one or two people that sort of I pinched ideas from a little bit. There was a cello player called Tom Cora, who was an improviser, but he was playing with a rock band called The X from Amsterdam, and we toured with them a lot. And he was the first person I saw using a looper. He was playing with a rock band, and he'd play a riff and then loop it, and it'd go, yeah, and I
Yeah.
did that with the trumpet.
You found out you could do it with a trumpet.
Yeah.
Oh,
But not many people were doing it, and the technology was quite sort of it was quite separate sort of thing to the mainstream.
yeah, yeah, yeah. You enjoy that kind of experimenting with those.
Oh,
Yeah,
totally. Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Wow. Well, 13 albums to date. Quite prolific output. Yeah, you
With
got.
SpaceX.
Yes.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's been over the years. So yeah, we've been going since the first album came out in '89. So that's what, 35 years ago. So
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
13 albums isn't many in
Well, and
35.
but if you look at a career for a band, that's quite a few albums.
Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah.
it really is.
And we did a lot of touring once I'd left James and this was where we wanted to go, and Richard the drummer was on board. We were I was quite pleased that we were a duo because it meant that, and one of the reasons for being a duo and not introducing a bass player or anything was that we could tour quite cheaply and travel. So that's what we did. We went all the way around Europe,
Yeah.
West and East Europe. We toured across the States
Right.
um, 3 or 4 times. Yeah, just
Okay.
yeah.
Did you
Uh,
ever come down this way to Dallas, Texas?
oh yeah, yeah,
Oh, okay, okay.
yeah. We
I
played we played in Dallas a couple of times.
must,
Yeah.
must have missed out on that. Okay, okay. Not
That
not
was this was in the 90s.
okay, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Or the early 2000s as well. We did a tour in 2002, and not Dallas so much. It was more Austin, Houston, and you know what? I don't think we did play Dallas. It was Austin, Houston,
yeah.
and what's the other place?
San Antonio? No, no, no.
No, it
Fort
is
Worth.
Dallas I'm thinking of. We did play in Dallas, I'm
Okay, you
sure.
did play.
Yeah, but Austin
Oh
and
yeah, Austin's a
is
bigger music city anyway.
yeah,
Yeah, down there.
yeah.
Have you ever played South by Southwest?
No,
No.
no. I mean, that was sort of that didn't really start happening until after we were touring in the 90s. I think when was the first South by Southwest? It was early 2000s, was it? Or late 90s?
Yeah.
I mean,
I-
we were just before that sort of really took off.
oh, okay. Oh no, it began in 87.
Oh,
87.
really?
Yeah,
Right. Wow.
yeah, yeah.
Okay.
I thought it'd been
God.
around a little bit longer than that.
Yeah, yeah. Okay.
Yeah, yeah. But yeah, bands from all over the world. Well, another thing you mentioned about, a duo, just another two guys in the band. It's less members to fight with too, when you
Yeah. Yeah.
right. Like you said, you don't have to pay more guys, but you also the infighting is limited.
Yeah.
As well. I've heard that too. When bands that have trios, just three members, they say, well, if we had any more, we might always be tussling with each other, so we
Yeah.
don't want.
Definitely.
Well, all right. Well, that's good. And then just this last November, as mentioned in the intro, the new EP, "Go Wild." Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. All right. What's been the response so far? Have you heard from fans or?
Yeah. I mean, it's been received by our small fan base really well, but yeah, it hasn't gone outside of the small fan base really. So I don't know how we do that. We released a box set with an American label last year called Absolutely Kosher that are based in San Francisco, and we hoped that that would introduce us to a wider audience and take us out of our usual sphere. But yeah, I mean, I'm not sure what's happening with that label now. I think that the guy running it maybe got disappointed that his box sets didn't do as well as he thought they might. So yeah, I'm not sure. We might do an album with him. We wanted to get back into America because we got a lot of American friends and fans, and yeah, Spaceheads duo traveling across America is one of the highlights of my touring life. Staying on people's houses, playing house parties. This was in the 90s, as I said, and house parties were yeah, they're great alternative to clubs.
Right. Well, I forgot to ask you, when and how long did you play with David Thomas?
Well, I played pretty much after I left James and started doing Spaceheads.
Okay.
Um, in 90, I left James in 93, and I first played with David in 96.
Okay.
So again, it was through a mutual friend who knew his manager and suggested me to David. And to try me out, David uh, took me on tour.
Oh, okay. Okay.
So again, I didn't have an audition. My audition was playing. We were supporting this disco band in Scandinavia, which was just totally bizarre. It was like the Pale Boys and David Thomas.
That's odd. Yeah.
This half-spoken word,
Uh-huh.
improvised, instant song creation is what David used to call it, and making things up on the spot.
Yeah.
And, uh, he was a great he's a great
Yeah.
performer, uh,
Yeah.
yeah, and character.
Yeah.
And
Almost reminds me of John Cooper Clarke.
yeah,
What he would do. The poetry. Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Okay.
And
Well,
so
go.
yeah, so I was improvising along, and again, it was outside the usual realms of improv because it was like you had David as the focal point.
Yeah.
And the first thing he said to me was, "There's no such thing as being in tune. I'm in tune. There's no such thing as playing in time. I'm in time."
Okay. That's what he told me.
Yeah, that's very clear. And there is no.
I get you. Yeah. I
You play to
understand.
his tuning and his timing. Yeah,
Okay. Yeah. Sad,
and
sad
those are
his
the only rules.
right, right. Sad to hear of his passing last year.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I was on the last Pere Ubu album, so kept my connections up with
Yeah.
him right till the end. And he
Right.
wanted me to play more with Pere Ubu, but again, James have taken over my life. It's
Yes. Yes. Right. Yeah, you can only spread yourself so thin, right?
Yeah, yeah,
You got to. Well, again, as mentioned, you rejoined James in 2007 and
yeah,
still playing. Last year was very busy uh,
yeah,
for you, as mentioned in the intro. The Live at the Acropolis released on DVD.
yeah.
Wow, wow, that's nice. That's nice.
Yeah, that was with an orchestra. That was a great project. We'd actually did an album with the orchestra, a proper studio album, and then went on tour with them. And we'd done it back in 2011, and the idea was always to eventually do a DVD and a filming of it.
Yeah.
And one of the venues suggested was the Royal Albert Hall, which would have been nice to record in with an orchestra, but they charged so much. It was
Oh,
absolutely phenomenally expensive to do a recording and release it in Albert Hall. They take a sort of cut of it.
yeah.
And then James have been trying to get on at the Acropolis because they only do a few bands every year, and we've been trying for years to get on, and suggested the orchestra thing to them, and they said, "Yeah, we'll put it on." And so we thought, "Can we film it?" Yeah. So
There you
we
go.
filmed it, and it was just, yeah, it was magical. Yeah.
Oh, I imagine so. Yeah, and just playing there exactly, and the history
The
behind.
history,
Oh,
yeah.
wow.
Yeah.
Yeah. Wow. Well, and then the best of James on CD and vinyl. Uh,
Yeah, it's just come out.
how many best of does James have?
Oh God.
A lot.
A lot.
I thought so.
Well, because we keep on bringing out new albums, so
Yeah.
really you should have the best of the last 6 years or something. Every 6 years.
Right, right, right. Has any
But the
label?
last the last
Yeah.
proper studio album we did was only 2 years ago, and that was Yummy, and that actually went straight to number 1 in the charts.
Yeah.
And it was the first time James album had actually got to number 1.
Yeah.
So yeah, so to have been around that long and to get your number 1 after 40 years is like, wow. Yeah.
Yeah. You
And
you've
and
arrived.
yeah, there's a whole young fan base coming through with James. It's just like
Okay.
there's the old people and the young people coming through.
Oh, I was going to ask you about that, younger
Yeah.
fans. Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay. Yeah, you see, like in the concert, you'll see some of the old fogies out there, and then maybe they're
Yeah.
kids, and now it'll be like grandkids, that'll be coming
Yeah.
in.
No, it's the parents bring their kids along, and then
Yeah.
kids become fans.
That's right. That's right. Yeah. Well, how was the tour and the festival tour? UK, Spain, Portugal. How did that
Yeah.
go?
Oh, it was great. We love playing festivals and open air in the summer.
Yeah.
Quite a few castles. Um, yeah, which are always nice.
Did the weather hold up on that tour?
Mostly this last summer was quite a good year. Yeah, yeah,
Okay. Okay. And then you had the 21-day tour of North and South America as well.
yeah. Well, we did South America separately. We did
Okay.
21 dates in North America, then we
Yep.
came back and did. I think it was 5 dates in
Okay.
South America. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Wow. Not Venezuela, did you?
No, not this year. Maybe next year.
Yeah, let's wait a while till things calm down, right?
Yeah.
We won't go
No.
there. Well, real briefly in closing, what are some other bands? I didn't mention all of them, but that you played in or played with that you've really enjoyed.
Um, God, I think you've covered most of them. I can't think of any. I mean, there was the Honkies. That was a very strange band that happened while I was in James, and that was with Richard, the drummer out of Spaceheads, and 2 women sax players, and we'd get all dressed up and run around the stage in sort of war paint and playing noisy punk jazz,
Yeah.
and that was the most important thing about that was the radio mics, because
Oh,
you said about technology, and that was just such a freeing up technology of performance when they first came out. And it's actually James that introduced me to it. So rather than playing into a mic, you could put a radio mic on and it would send you send your microphone to across a radio into the PA. So you could move around and run around.
Okay. Okay.
So yeah, as that was discovered in for me in the early 90s. I think they'd been around. I think Miles Davis was actually playing with one. So
Oh, he did. He did as
yeah,
well. Wow.
in fact, the first time James gave me a mic, a radio mic to play with, was the day Miles Davis died
Oh, is that right?
in 1990. Yeah, and I felt a passing on of the baton.
Uh-huh. It's kind of like that Jimi Hendrix experience.
Yeah, it's the Jimi Hendrix
Jimi
story.
Hendrix experience,
Yeah,
literally.
yeah.
Wow. Okay. All right. All right then, Andy. I'll let you go so you can get prepped up for the football match.
Right. Okay. Thank you.
All right. Is it Manchester United?
No, no, I support Arsenal.
Okay. Okay. All
Yeah,
right. All right. Uh, I don't follow that, but I've heard
yeah.
how yeah competitive those
Those things
teams
are.
can
Yeah.
be. All right. All right then. Well, thank you again for this, Andy, and
Well, thank you.
all the continued success and all the best to you.
Thanks very
And
much.
I will send you a copy of this probably this time next week. Uh,
Okay.
shouldn't be much to edit,
Yeah.
and then you can post it wherever you'd like to, and it'll be on my
Okay.
channel. Yeah.
Okay. Great.
All
Right.
right.
Thanks very much, Greg.
All
Yeah.
right. You're very welcome. All right. Bye bye for now.
All right. Cheers. Bye.
Cheers.